Welcome. You are at the CCC.
Where there are no outside issues. Hello, my name is Bonnie Violet. I'm a trans, femme, genderqueer, spiritual drag artist, digital chaplain, and person living in Idaho.
My name's Anthony. I'm an addict and alcoholic, a sixth year doctoral student in clinical psych, and I care about you.
Yes, and I'm Lulu. My pronouns are he and him. I'm former Miss Castro Country Club, in recovery for drugs, crystal meth, and alcohol, and I am always in search of balance.
And each week we provide and create a brave space where we talk about topics of recovery.
Yes, and our intention is to hold and inspire better spaces for those people in recovery.
By tackling topics sometimes used to separate us.
But before we do that, like, subscribe, and ding that bell. Ding, 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 ding.
Ding. Holy shit.
Whoa.
I think that we should have recorded that.
We did record it.
We just recorded it, play it ahead, and then we come on.
Mm-hmm.
Right, we should totally. That's our new commercial.
Yeah.
Done.
I'm fighting, I feel like my boogers are coming out because I keep sniffling. And I don't want to use
I can't see them from here.
I'm not going to look over. I'm going to let you have whatever you're having.
You don't have to.
Did you see that TikTok of that drag queen?
which
They were like trying to clean their boogers, and they were trying not to mess up their makeup, and they stick their Kleenex here and they blow it and it bounces off their finger and sticks on their forehead.
Oh my God.
I know. Good way to start. Hello.
Yeah, what a nice segue. Hi.
Yes, we should add a trigger warning.
How?
It's not.
It's not. That might be
It's not
someone's
talk.
kink, I'm pretty sure. I wonder what. I've never heard of that being a kink.
Oh, I mean,
Trust me, I'm pretty sure
Right.
somebody's into that.
maybe throat snot. I don't know.
Yeah, we should probably take a poll at one of
Okay,
this.
so no, I knew this guy who I'm going to just say he was a sex worker, but this was a while before I had even found recovery. And he used to have this guy that he would call up, and the guy just wanted him to make the throat noises like, and he would get paid for that. And so I believe that, if it's got a name for it, it's somebody's kink.
I think it's called goosing.
Okay.
Because I think in Canada the word I think it's goosing because you make that the like geese or ducking or something like that. Oh my God! I just saw your porno.
I know.
This is why I fucking hate looking at people's phones because I know I'm going to see some shit that I don't want to see, and I looked over it and it was that, and I know because so it's that one advertisement that always comes up when you look for something and it's like the stripper, it's like at home strippers or stripping at home. Are you embarrassed? Oh, I didn't think so.
Why would I be embarrassed?
I don't. Well, I don't. I was like, fuck. I just don't want to know what your things are.
You sit behind an unsuspecting victim.
Oh, goosing. There we go. That's it. I got it.
You curl your hand in between their legs and grab hold of their genitals.
Oh, wait. No, that's not it. Oh, no, that's not it. I'm thinking anyway. We haven't. How is everyone doing? How did we get here? How is everyone doing?
You started it. Actually, I might have. I'm sorry.
With the snot, because I said
And
kink.
I don't know why I didn't remember. That's what goosing is. Goose.
Yeah, it's not goosing. It's like, I'll look it up.
It's like ducking and goosing.
It's based on the sound that it makes. That sound, it's a thing.
It makes a sound if you don't move your...
No, just,
I don't think
can
it
we
makes that
transition?
sound.
Can we... How are
Transition. We've talked about this. That is my word.
Never gets old.
Okay, so I'll start. I'm doing really well. Like last week, was it last week? I went to see New Order and Pet Shop Boys.
Oh, I didn't know you saw Pet Shop Boys.
No, it's like I was at home, I was chilling or whatever, and my neighbor calls and he said, I need a favor, and I'm thinking it was going to be something serious. He's like, yeah, I got an extra ticket because someone flaked, and I'm all, I hadn't seen New Orders in like 27 years. And interestingly enough, one of the individuals that I went to that concert with, while I was I'm old. I leave just as they start singing the encore. I go to the bathroom, and just as I'm waiting for this person to come out, one of the individuals I went to that concert with comes out, and it was so cool. And Facebook is amazing because we would not have known it was the other had we not been able to, stay in each other's life. And his wife came up to me and gave me this big hug, like we had known each other forever. And I'm all, how cool is that? Okay.
Is it New World Order bringing families together?
No, New Order.
New Order.
Not New World
I
Order.
know.
That's a different conversation.
It's all the same to me. I don't know.
You know what's cool? I'm looking around and I don't recognize everybody, but they're all my age and I know all the songs and whatever. I like going to concerts where I know a lot of them.
Is New Order like a boys group? Like
no, it's like I want a place I can call my own.
That's not the famous
Have
one.
a conversation on the telephone. No.
It's the Triangle song.
Tell me why I can't. No, that's a
Triangle of Love.
Yeah.
You've lost me. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, so that was a good story. Bonnie Violet, your turn.
That's a great story. Oh, I'm well. I'm in Boise, Idaho, which I don't think I was here last week, right? No. So I'm in Boise. I was going to be in Portland, but I'm in Boise because I have to fucking just stop. I'm tired. I'm tired.
Stop moving. Stop traveling.
Tired of moving. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so that's how I am.
That sounds like a parable. I feel like there's a lesson in there somewhere.
It's been a lesson. She's learning it.
Anthony, how about you?
I'm fine.
Just fine.
That's it.
Wow.
Well, I have a runny nose right now, and I'm using
usually he's like, can I talk?
Well,
and now
when you're used to being like pushed aside,
Oh.
Yeah, it's because you're a cat owner.
So I have a runny nose right now. I don't know what that's about. I apologize to the people at home, both people watching us live because I keep using my sweater to wipe my nose, and also for the people at home if you hear me sniffling.
So it's not your fault.
It's not my fault. It's not my fault. Okay, you know what that reminds me of a joke I heard the other day.
Oh.
And it goes like this. I ate all of my cat's food, but I don't know meow.
Oh my God. Where's the joke?
I don't know meow. I don't know how. I don't know meow. You guys suck. That was
and so because you ate cat food, you turned into a cat?
My God.
I'm thinking I heard somewhere that if you have to explain the joke, it's not a joke.
It's not my fault you're dumb.
Oh, okay. That's it. Blame the audience. Blame the audience for not getting you.
I'm blaming you, not the audience.
No, I'm the audience. You were telling us a joke, so I'm the audience right now.
All right, so I think this is a good time for us to talk about powerlessness.
Oh, yeah.
So today's topic, well, were we done? Okay, so that was not some sound confrontational. I just wanted to make sure that we could transition.
Right. For folks who weren't watching, Anthony just slapped Lulu.
So today's
not true.
So today's topic is power or powerlessness, and all the different ways that shows up in your recovery. I was thinking about this on my way here. God honest truth is that I totally forgot this was today's topic, so I had to text a thread and ask everyone. But anyway, on my way here, I was thinking about power and powerlessness and ways to talk about that don't have to do with recovery specifically, right? Because when we talk about powerlessness, we're talking about step one. We're talking about a very specific form of power. So for folks at home listening in, if you have any thoughts about powerlessness or power in general, it doesn't have to make sense. Just bring it in. We'd love to hear it. We love when you guys comment, when y'all comment. So thoughts from you two?
Well, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No.
I give you the power.
Well, no, I was just going to say it's one of the reasons why I was thinking power, because what the conversation we were having last time, and most of the conversations that we have, it's interesting how when you come into recovery, and you obviously you were completely powerless, but not willing to acknowledge that you were powerless, and it's this what is the word? It's I'll think of it as we go, but it's when
it's not parlance, is it?
No, it's not parlance. I know.
That's a throwback for our loyal fans. You got
Trigger.
Exactly. Go ahead.
No, it's one of those things where it's it's a word. It means one thing, but
a euphemism.
Well, no. Okay.
A synonym?
Let's call it a euphemism right now.
Okay.
Basically.
An double
I
entendre?
know. Thank you. No, it's not, and I'm never not going to get it. No, the idea is like when we, you know how we have to let go of control in order to become powerful. What is that?
Oh, a paradox.
A paradox.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
It's a paradox. I don't know why.
It's one of the paradoxes of AA.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah.
There are 3.
I'm going to stop and let someone else share, and I'll come back to my.
That did take you some time, huh?
Miss Erica just sent us some love.
What'd
Hello,
she say?
Erica. Glad you could join us.
Hi,
Hi, Erica.
I've always been somebody who's been very adverse to the like conversations around power, especially like when I first was working in like LGBTQ HIV shit. You know, they always talked about like power and like kind of like taking the power and utilizing the power, and I just hated exactly. I just hated the power conversation.
The
but
3 Ps.
when we were thinking about this, I was thinking like, no, I want to talk about power because I feel like I just got out of therapy too, just forewarning folks. So, but like a lot of what I'm working on is trying to take back my own power, because I tend to respond in a way that I'm powerless over, and then it just keeps me from, I think having the confidence I would like to have and quote unquote even should have, like, the confidence that I deserve and that, you know what I mean, that really does match with where I'm at. But I sometimes in certain moments really struggle to connect with that. And some of it is just like a trauma. So for me, it's like, I want the power in a good way.
Yeah. So when I think about this, I think about it like from like a philosophical perspective, because there's so many different discussions on like the role of power. I brought up Foucault before, like with Crime and Punishment.
Watch your mouth.
Did you say wash your mouth?
Watch your mouth.
Watch it. Foucault. Oh, because I said Foucault. So, so like with Foucault, the idea was that power was pervasive. It was all over the place. We all have it. Then I was thinking about Nietzsche, which basically has to do with the overcoming of self, which is a form of power, and like the overcoming of self as a way of reaching like new heights of beauty and understanding. And then I think about powerlessness and how in the big book we talk about that our issue was powerlessness, and it was by, speaking to your paradox, it's by giving up power that we get power, and then the way we get that power is through our relationship with the power that's greater than ourselves. So I can think about it in like this kind of like maybe like heady way, and I think the power that I guess most connect to, or the idea of power that I most connect to, is the one about overcoming self, which I think is related to the ego, because we talk about the ego a lot. And the word ego has its like origins and everything from, has a Greek origin, but also, we talk about like psychoanalysis and there's like the ego there. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is that there's all these different ways of having this conversation, and there are all these different ideas about what makes up power and what power is. And so for me, it's very complicated. All right.
No, absolutely. It's like, I think that kind of what I was getting at, but I was stuck on the whole idea of this paradox, is that when you're working with someone new coming in, and we had to display a certain strength when we're out in the scene, in the world. I don't know how you referred to it last week. In the life.
In the life.
Yeah, you did. I'll play it back.
Probably.
No, you have to display a certain, and so to have come in here to this place where you don't have a lot of trust, you don't understand what's going on, and have somebody tell you that you are powerless over this and you're powerless this, and then it's step one. When some I always like kind of block it out when I hear people say the only step you have to do perfectly is step one. You don't, and you look at that as like I've got to admit that I'm powerless. That's a struggle.
I feel like there's this like underlying current of like contempt in all of our voices today.
Yeah.
Like we're all kind of angry at something.
we have those.
Right.
We have a talk.
It's that obvious.
Jalen,
Hey, Jalen.
We've missed you. I don't remember you chiming in last week, so I've missed you. But Jalen writes, I've had to get comfortable accepting the fact fact that I'm powerless over my subconscious expectations of people who don't think the way that I do, and not build silent resentments around that. Ooh, you use the word subconscious.
Well, how do you do that?
What?
Just a follow-up, Jalon. Like, what are some of the things that you do to not do that? Because if it's subconscious, like, and I can kind of appreciate that, because how do I not build this?
Jalon says, I've had to get comfortable. So is what your question, like, how did you get comfortable?
Yeah, how did you get comfortable?
He
grabbed a pen and broke it down for me like we were in school, and you're wondering why I have some issues right now.
I know, I saw it clear over here.
But Jalon, well, I guess we're punting that question to you. The question we're punting to you is, how did you get comfortable?
Yeah, how do you get comfortable?
I love this idea of the subconscious. Would y'all mind if I chimed in on that? So the idea of the subconscious or the unconscious, that a lot of that is actually like rooted in psychoanalysis, and the idea is that we have motivations or drives that are underneath the surface that are essentially causing our behaviors, right? Like, so for example, we may talk about defenses like, oh, that's a defense mechanism. Or, when we talk about our character defects, we are essentially talking about defense mechanisms, kind of like improper. But basically the idea is that like our subconscious has been shaped by all of our experiences, right? So when we have like trauma responses, like you were talking about, Bonnie Violet, a lot of that is rooted in our subconscious. It's like the kind of stuff that like our bodies respond and we're feeling anxious and we have no idea why we feel anxious, and it's because it's stuff that's been registered in our subconscious mind.
Well, and getting comfortable with it, I think part of that, I think of when Jalon says that, is this like getting comfortable accepting the fact. I think, because I think a lot of my subconscious, or a lot of my triggers, or a lot of my things that happen that I'm so fully aware of at this point in my life that I just can't get past, have been there like my whole life. Like, these are things that developed when I was really young. And so it was in my subconscious, and it wasn't something that I was necessarily aware of, but I was aware of the fact that I couldn't seem to get certain results, or I tended to have similar patterns or results in relationships and stuff. And I knew there was something there, but I really couldn't figure out what it was until it was time to. So I mean, that's what I think of when I think of that statement. And it's like, okay, I don't get it now. But maybe I will at some point,
I get that.
But I wonder how much of that is around like, anyway, I was just trying to think about like, because sometimes people are just like assholes and mean and like, and those sorts of things that like, I woke up this morning to like puke emojis all over like a post, and what the hell is that? Just from a clip from one of our shows, when I was talking about spirituality of all things. Yeah.
That's funny.
You, me, Lulu. Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. I only ever, because I don't have Facebook.
Puke emojis are not funny.
What's really interesting about that, and just to kind of orient people who are listening in, is if we root this in recovery, so maybe that's like a place to, because I'm realizing like, wow, this really is kind of like,
it's very broad.
So pervasive, it's so broad. Yeah. Well, my first thought is, when I hear about the puke emojis, was that on our Facebook or something? When I hear about puke emojis, it immediately makes me think about that person's powerlessness, right? Because obviously, maybe not so obvious, but if someone is so pressed by what we're doing that they feel the need to put a fucking emoji of all things.
I love that word, pressed.
Right. Pressed. If you know what I mean?
What you got?
Yeah, like if you're so pressed, and this I've learned in recovery, right? Because when we talk about, and acceptance is the answer to all of my problems, blah 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 blah, and we cease fighting everyone and everything, including alcohol. So for me, like when I am so, I hate the word trigger, but whenever I am so triggered, or I'm so pulled by something, I am powerless over that situation because I'm responding or I'm reacting to that thing. I can have the feeling that I'm going to have, right? I'm in acceptance when I'm not, in my opinion, I'm in acceptance when I don't react, right? When I'm able to take that shit to my sponsor, or I'm able to put that shit in my like nightly inventory. There's a sense of maybe not power. I think it's in the admission of powerlessness that I'm writing it down because I'm admitting to myself in this situation, you know what? I can't do anything about this. You know, for example, my friend, she went to a bachelorette party recently and there was this Russian girl there. I don't mean to get political. There was this Russian girl there who saw our Ukrainian flag and immediately started to talk shit about Ukraine. And my friend texts me and she's like, I'm going to fucking tell her about herself. And I'm like, girl, you're not going to change someone's political views while you're in the backseat of her car on your way to a drag bingo. You know what I mean? Because that's where they were going. Right. And so you admit powerlessness, and in the admission, there's a regaining of control. Yeah. Right. Because you're not being pulled off your center.
I don't know about you all, but it's like when I think about like just what you're talking about, like there's so many situations where I believe that if I was vocal about what I was feeling or whatever, then I could make people believe what I what I wanted them to believe. And the truth, just like you said, it's like the reality is I can't, and I need, right. I lose more energy getting caught up with trying to like control what somebody else is thinking.
Right. But I think that's like the tool is that you like you can do like what Anthony was talking about, where like in your mind, you can be like, okay, that's on that person. It's not me. But subconsciously, it still clicks something, maybe because, I don't know, because of something your dad said or something that a old partner said, or, something like that. And so that like hits something, even if you're like trying to reprogram, if you will. So that's what I mean. It's like, yes, I can fix it all in my head and I can get over it, but there's still going to be this discomfort that I wish could just go away. And maybe I'm like, I hope my therapist is going to fix it. I'm hoping in like 3 weeks, maybe, but that would just like go away,
I think we're really fortunate because like, we talk about this idea of like tribe of people, people that you spend time with or whatever. And I think that while we're doing the work, and I'm talking specifically about the work that I do in 12-step, and then even like with a therapist and surrounding myself with people who are kind of moving in that same direction, I think that having people who love and support you, but not like blindly just kind of blow smoke up your ass, but really kind of call you on piss poor behavior. I think that is for me, that has been a great way to kind of get to a place where I understand this idea of powerless, to get over myself. Like I know I've told this story before, where I worked at this place where all of the staff basically lived, and we worked in this cafe part. It was where all of the residents ate. And so one of the guys who was clearly like on something, was sweating. He came up, I placed my order. He came and he set it down, and it was a mess. And he might have sweated on it too. And I was upset, and I was just livid. And I told anybody would listen. And then I got mad because they didn't respond the way I wanted them to respond. And it took me a really long time to realize, okay, you know what? It does not negate what I'm feeling. It does not take anything away from my feeling just because somebody else doesn't understand what I'm feeling. It's like, and so, yeah.
Yeah. So for folks at home just chiming in, I'm sorry, were you going to say something, Bonnie Violet?
I was just going to say Jaylon answered your question.
Before we take Jaylon's answer, for folks at home, we're talking about powerlessness. If anything's coming up for you, you have any ideas, whether it's related to recovery or your own experiences, we'd love to hear it. Hit us up on Facebook, YouTube, all the places. Okay. What did Jaylon say? Through having a lot of uncomfortable conversations and practicing how to listen to others, allow boundaries to be set and not rely on my old reactive behavior. Definitely a work in progress.
Beautiful.
Jaylon, thank you so much for that. There's a lot of insight in there.
Yes.
So I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and I was talking about how, like, recently in the last week and a half since I made that decision not to apply this year, I've been feeling really at peace. And I was thinking about how in recovery, there's this really interesting like cross section, or this really interesting magical place between God's will and the decisions I make, right? And hopefully, like when I'm praying to know God's will, those two things are kind of, they're overlapping. And that's the part that I feel like is magical, right? Is that like, I noticed that if I'm less impulsive, so I've been meditating a lot in the morning and praying a lot in the morning, trying to like reinforce good habits or patterns, whatever. But when I'm doing that, I noticed that there is this way that the day unfolds. And if I'm looking at it, it really does look like I didn't do any of that. Like, yeah, I was participating, but I didn't do any of that. And I feel like on the surface, it looks like there's powerlessness there. But in retrospect, I feel like there's an enormous amount of power in allowing for something greater than me to let things unfold. And for me to see myself as like a vessel for this thing that's greater than me.
Yeah, it's the vulnerability. It's like the submissive is the one who really has the power.
I was thinking that too.
Yeah. That was you. You were talking about that last time. Yeah. I love the idea of. I love that you brought up submissive and like the sub having the power. I was like, I was like, what am I disclosing? So one of the things I love about those dynamics is that the dom is nothing without the sub, right? Like the dom is showing up, but it's the sub who decides what the parameters are.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. And so there's an illusion of power there, but it's all held in the person who's receiving, right? So there is such a thing as like a good sub, and a good sub
we're exposing them.
Huh?
No.
But I think also like,
I mean, people know what my kinks are in the rooms.
I tend to be on more of the, like, I'm a submissive person, sexually and otherwise, I think. But like, I think though, like part of my belief too, is that somehow I'm giving up power, or that I am the one with less power in that situation. I'm not sure why I do that, but that's how I don't feel like the powerful one in the situation, if that makes sense. But that doesn't mean I don't have the power, I guess.
Yeah. So I'm without saying too much, like I'm on the opposite end of that. And like, I feel like there's a, shut your mouth. So I feel like whenever I've been I've been in dynamics, with like a sub that I really connect with, I like the parameters are set long before we meet up. You know what I mean? And like I'm operating within that. So there is this there's this space that I get to play in, but that space has been determined for me, right?
The container.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do we get here?
We were talking about power and submission. No, it's all good.
Like every conversation we have always goes back to sex.
No, but it's like you said. It's like this idea of power is broad.
Yeah, it is very broad.
Yeah, and
it's all integrated. I mean, I think when we talk about spirituality and sexuality, it's often a lot of the same words. Like a lot of the same, play with words, if you will, or actions. I mean, we can catch ourselves saying some of the most spiritual shit that heard from like the coffee shop. Somebody might be thinking you're talking about something completely different.
Yeah.
Different.
Yeah.
If you were sitting, say, at the Castro Country Club having a coffee.
What?
He just threw out there.
She's having a stream of consciousness right now. Yeah.
I was just trying to put a little plug in for the Castro Country Club.
Absolutely.
We've got a lot of plugs here. Brandon is probably with plug right now. No? Okay. So
is that our new assistant?
I feel compelled. No, Brandon. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, but so for context, so one of the things that I feel compelled to share is, so when I was first learning about, when I was in social, so this is interesting. So when I was in social justice spaces, power is talked about at like the 3 Ps, like the 3 Ps of power. So there's like ideological power, individual power, and institutional power, right? Which to me is really interesting, right? Because that's where the locus of power is. And then when we go to sobriety, the locus of power is in a power greater than ourselves. Where I don't know where I wanted to go with that. Yeah, I guess what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to ground the conversation in this idea that there are these different ways of defining it, and that the conversation, I feel like we're kind of dipping our toes in all these like buckets. All these
it is not.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, it's not always about becoming powerful. Mm-hmm. It's being able to acknowledge our powerlessness and to be okay with that. Because I think what happens in recovery is that we transfer our powerlessness from one thing to another. So we gave all of our power to the drugs or the alcohol. Eventually it took it from us, right? And then we find a different, hopefully better, more trusting place to put our power into.
Yeah.
We get to a place where we acknowledge that we've always been powerless,
and we will be,
and we own it.
Yeah.
I think that's the gift of like recovery, like opening our eyes to the fact that, yeah, as much as I thought I had control over this, I was really kind of like this, the obsession, kind of like that obsession that I had. Like I thought,
With your coworker?
no. When I was using and I was hooking up and having sexual experiences or whatever, I thought that I was empowered because I was doing what I wanted to do and I was being free or whatever. But really, I was being led by the drug. The drug was in control because a lot of those things that I thought I would be doing, I eventually would end up doing them, but it's like not nearly as fast and not as frequent.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't.
Are you talking about?
Okay, so we're talking about like the.
Sorry, I didn't mean to be so flippant. I was just trying to follow.
No, it's okay. It's like I'm not surprised.
Oh, here we go.
No,
what's that like?
I was going back to this idea that so Bonnie was talking about transferring this idea of powerlessness, but when I mentioned I've always been powerless. I've always been powerless, but I wasn't willing to acknowledge that I was powerless. Mm-hmm. Like I was storming around saying that I got the power. I'm this bad bitch or whatever, and I can do this or whatever. And instead of understanding instead of understanding the fact that I'm arguing with people over things that I have no control over, was not power. Was not me not being powerful. Me not being a boss at all. You know how people call themselves. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. There's so much here. I'm like thinking about ideas of like masculinity and how that informs ideas of power. But with the last like 14 minutes that we have, I'm wondering if we can shift a little bit and talk about moments when we feel powerful or times, I guess currently when is it that we tap into power, and whatever way that's being interpreted. And so I'm punting that question to folks listening at home. When do you feel the most powerful? When are times like, do you feel like you're reclaiming power in some way? Please share that with us. So when do you feel the most powerful, or when have you felt like you've regained power?
Have you thought about that, Bonnie?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of places, but the first thing that comes to mind for me is drag. When I do drag, I feel very powerful, and all the social anxieties and those sorts of things, they don't necessarily go away completely, but they definitely, I feel like my most powerful when I'm in drag. I'm feeling even more and more powerful in my body now, which is really great. So like relatively, I feel powerful in my body, in my trans body. Even though I'm still figuring out how to hold that, or I actually even really experience having it, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Like it can build, I guess.
It brings me a lot of joy to hear you say all of those things about yourself. It's really nice to hear that.
Absolutely. And it's been great being on this journey with you.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for being a part of it. I mean, it's a big deal. I mean, I'm not doing it alone. So I think a big part of my ability to gain power and to move in this way is because of I finally got into an environment, into a container that could allow me to be and express, how I've always, desired.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And it sounds too to me like you're talking about a self-overcoming, which is what I was talking about earlier as a way of
self-overcoming.
Yeah, self-overcoming as a way of
power. There we go. We got sexual again. At least I got sexual in the spiritual talk. I know. You ruined me, I think.
So
not you.
Have y'all ever seen that statue, The Ecstasy of Saint Teresa? Have we talked about that before?
You talked about it.
I feel like you brought it up.
I feel like I looked it up.
Because what you're describing to me sounds like the ecstasy of Saint Teresa, right? This idea that like you can connect with God so much so where like the experience can feel orgasmic, right? Because you're connecting with that which you are part of. Okay, but never mind any of that. So what were you going to say? Well, no, not, you could just go.
No. I was trying to think about when I felt most powerful. Drag is definitely one, but I think that in the way that, like with the fellows, the people around me, like when I asked for support and I get it, It's hard to explain, but it's like there was a time before, like especially before I came in recovery, where no one trusted my word. And all the work that I've done leading up to, like now when I need to put together something, when I need to organize an event, people, they know me and they connect with me and they step up. Or when I'm asking for money for a fundraiser, they give me money, you know, and it's an interesting power. It's like it's not about like, oh God, I'm the emperor. It's that trust, whatever, you know. Yeah, I feel like that for me is kind of power, knowing that I have this connection with people, that I am going to be supported, whatever, and yeah, that to me is great.
I heard
Jaylon.
Oh, what did Jaylon? Jaylon, let's hear it. Jaylon, well, you should just be in the studio. Can we arrange for that? Can we? I think, Louis, you have Jaylon's contact.
Yeah, same for me, Bonnie. Drag does this. I'm trying to read like Jaylon said. Same for me, Bonnie. Drag does that because there's a spiritual experience that happens when she's activated. Louis got to witness it at Finding Fellowship, and yes, it is true.
I actually saw a photo just the other day, and I was like, "Oh my God, look at her!" Yeah, I was amazed. I witnessed it too.
Oh yeah,
I love that so much.
It's fabulous.
That's right, great, Jaylon. And like I said, the invitation is there. You should come sit at the table with us and have what's the phrase? A kiki?
Have a kiki.
No, what's it called when drag queens talk?
That's a kai. Well,
no, that's two drag.
No, that's when two drag queens have sex. Is a kai.
A kiki. It's still a kiki. What do you think?
It's still a kiki. Anyway,
it's a drag kiki. I don't know.
It's drag queens talking.
Or like when you know clown face. I'll get off of this in a second. Clown face. It's like when you have sex with one of the sisters and you get their makeup on you, right? It's like called clown face. Brandon, what's it called?
Have you done that?
No, I haven't.
Yes.
Okay,
had sex with the sister.
I think I could.
Gotten clown makeup on you.
Clown. No, but I do have an interesting story. Like one of my first like long-term boyfriend, he had this elf costume, and there was
Jeremy.
No, that was. Forget all those stories. That's for another time. I forgot what I was going to say. Power. When do we feel the most powerful? I, honest to God, I feel. Okay, there's two parts. First part. There's an echo, huh? You hear that, Brandon? I'm sorry for folks at home if there's I think it's coming from over there.
Or did the
sound
come on the computer there?
Oh, you know what? I think
because it turned off.
Oh, hold on.
That's cool.
How about now?
Thank you, Brandon. Everybody give Brandon a round of applause.
Thank you, Brandon.
Round of applause is a great drag queen.
Is that?
I met her. She's a friend of mine.
Nice,
She's great. Anywho.
God, what was I gonna say?
We were talking about
power.
About your first boyfriend.
Okay, I never felt. So by virtue of doing the steps, not to put too fine a point on it, I truly believe I am living out my life's purpose. I truly believe that I am on earth doing exactly what I should be doing, and there is something. I never feel more powerful when, for example, I'm working with someone who's in pain, right? Like I'm a clinician and I do research and I just like feel it in my soul that like this is the way that God chooses to use me on earth. And so I never feel more powerful when those things are aligning for me. In my social life, or kind of like in everyday life, not when I'm like being, like clinician me, when I'm in my everyday life, I feel really powerful when I'll have an experience, like when I have that like thing that grips me, where like, we'll just say like a character defect, and I'm able to hold that lightly and then go about my life. And then by virtue of not kind of acting out on that thing, there's some insight that pops up. That to me, that is like one of the most magical feelings when I'm like proven wrong, in the best way. So I feel really powerful in those moments. So when I'm doing what I believe I'm on earth to do, and when the program is working for me.
Nice.
Yes. Preach.
Yas.
Everything.
Yeah. Yas. That reminds me, there was this one time, and then the last 5 minutes we'll talk about like our things. Pollo. there was years ago. I wonder if she listens to us, but years ago,
Probably not.
Probably not. She's too famous.
You remember what I said? You remember what I
She's
said
too
about-
sober.
No,
What are you
remember what I
talking
said
about?
San Francisco celebrity.
Yeah, I love Paul.
Yes.
Absolutely love Paul. Super insightful. Anyway, so there was this one time we went bowling, and I'm such a horrible bowler. And Paul was there, and every time I would bowl, he would say, "Yas, yas, queen, yas," and it was like the sweetest thing because I felt so embarrassed, but like I felt very comforted and like loved by Paul when it was
He
happening.
was trying to hook up with you.
Oh,
Girl.
don't take that out of that. Well, whatever. It still made me feel good.
Paul, I love you, but the truth has to be told.
Man, what's that thing like when you have like a memory that's like really important? What's that called?
You like
What's that
you
called?
like pet. I would say you just
A key
shit in my
memory?
mouth or peed in my Cheerios or something.
Whatever the motivation was, it's kind of like when someone's newly sober and they're going to meetings because they have crushes on people. I don't care. Are you drinking?
The Lord works in mysterious ways.
And so maybe Paul was showing up in that way because maybe he had other motivations, but it made me feel very connected and whole. And
I'm glad.
But that's like the power of like higher power thinking and all that. It's like it's higher power. It's not. I don't think it's always that like all of our like not so great things about us just go away. I think with God's help, sometimes those things actually can be for the good versus causing harm.
Yeah, I have a sorry, one more story. So I have a crush on someone in the rooms right now. Well, not anymore. And I don't have this crush anymore because I've shared about this before. Like when you give
because they
yourself
just got a year.
I'm not even. That was too quick. That was too good. I love that so much. You're like, because they're not counting days anymore.
Oh my God.
But like I saw them. So I had this crush on this guy in the rooms, and then I heard him talking about Grindr, and then like talking about some people he had hooked up with, and I'm like, man, just like that, like the feeling went away.
Oh, it doesn't take much. It's like
I'm like, damn, dude, like I thought you were someone completely different. And whatever, I'm not like shaming him, but I was like, oh wow, we're like in very different places. Because here I thought we had all this stuff in common, and we're just.
I'm glad it took that to figure that out.
The tea is good today, sister.
Hey, so if you
Let's close
are
out.
interested in getting in touch with me, you can always reach me on the gram at Lulu86, and I've just been posting live reels, so it's like it's super cool.
I like those. Thanks
Yeah,
for
those are
doing
fun.
that. Yeah.
And you can find me, Bonnie Violet, at aqueerchaplain.org or a queer chaplain on all of the things.
Or you can find me at @LucasCCC on Instagram. Y'all already know the story, but I was talking to my
But
sponsee.
can we really?
Yeah, right. So I was talking to my sponsee, and we have a plan. Brian, you're out there. I'm holding you accountable via public space.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
And but if you don't want to contact us in any of those ways, you can email us at podcast@castrocountryclub.org. Or if you'd like to leave us a message, you can hit us up on our SpeakPipe at www.speakpipe.com/@the CCC.
Yes, and the Castro Country Club is a safe and sober community center for all people and a refuge for the LGBTQ plus recovery community.
They provide programs and services that help people change their lives by supporting personal growth.
Their vision, we should just say our vision is to reduce the suffering of addiction by connecting people to community,
Take that
opportunity,
power.
and support. You can find more information at castrocountryclub.org.
You're powerless of that. And tune in every Tuesday at 4 p.m.-ish when we go live in our Castro Country Club. We are in our Castro Country Club
And-
on the Facebook and
On the
YouTube
FaceTube.
channels. I know. On the Face Plays.
And find us on all of your favorite podcast sources. So we're literally on everything.
And Anthony, what Tuesday is that?
Every Tuesday, Pacific
Yeah.
Standard Time. So tune in
I got you.
every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time when we go live at our Castro Country Club. Oh wait, we just read that.
We
Facebook,
did
didn't
do
you?
that.
Yeah.
I was giving you stats.
Brandon,
as always.
can we invite people to come sit in live? Yeah, so if you're in the area, in the neighborhood, and you want to come sit in live, like our friend Jeremy today, we have someone.
Yes, hi Jeremy.
We haven't made that public or open before, so I guess that's what we're doing. We're formally saying if you want to come sit live and hear us talk shit, you are welcome.
Yeah, you just have to be quiet.
Yeah, just be fucking quiet.
You have to throw popcorn at Lulu and Anthony.
Absolutely.
Jeremy's been
I'm
a great
safe
guest
over
today.
here, but
Popcorn. Should we serve popcorn, Brandon? No, Brandon said no.
Brandon, that's one more thing.
Yeah, I see we still don't have that thing yet.
We don't.
Okay. So
next week we talk about phobias.
We do talk about phobias next week. And as usual, we love you. Thank you for chiming in, sending us your messages, for watching us, for being so loyal and so loving, for saying hi to us when you see us on the street, for subscribing, for telling your friends about us. Anything else?
For encouraging us to be quiet when it's time.
I don't know what that was about. All right. Well, you have been very negative today, Lewis. All right. We love you. Bye.